Welcome to Ready, Set, Sail, episode 2.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Papa
I'm
Meatball.
ready to set sail. I want to go on the ocean, just me, but you can go too. How you like that song?
I love it.
Yeah, in the world of singing, I should take up some other profession. Okay,
Well,
hopefully everybody enjoyed our first episode talking
yes.
about solo cruising, and you could we did get some comments, so thank you very much for those who commented. And remember to comment and subscribe. If you subscribe, it doesn't cost you anything, but you'll always get notification when the next episode comes up.
That's
And we're
right.
going to try to do this every week so you get some consistency, especially if you're new to cruising. You want to learn this, and don't hesitate to put in any comments that say, "Hey, that was good, but I need to know something else." Let us know
Yeah. What are your
what you're needing,
questions? Let
because
us
I'm
know.
giving you what I think you might want to hear. So if you got any questions, put them in the comments, right?
That's right. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
Okay. Okay.
So, today I'd like to ask you, how do you pick a cruise line?
Well, there are a lot of cruise lines out there. You have to decide, do you want to go on more of a party ship and it's geared more towards singles or young families? Do you want to be able to see the grandparents as well as the rest of the family?
Yeah, they don't allow them old people on every cruise. No.
No, they allow them, but some cruise lines, you're not going to see that multi-generational family. You might see young families, or you might see young people, or you might see older people, but not necessarily always multi-generational. Um, or do you want a cruise line that is fun? It's a mix of fun and quiet, or do you want just peaceful and relaxation?
Mm.
So those are some of the things to keep in mind. But how do you find that? Well, there's some major cruise lines that are sailing in the U.S., out of the U.S. And the ones that I could think of, Carnival, Celebrity, Holland America, Royal Caribbean, Princess, like remember that old TV show with,
The
on
Love
the
Boat?
Pacific? Yeah, the Love Boat.
That was a
Oh,
princess?
yeah, Pacific Princess.
Oh.
I don't think they have that one anymore, but that ship, but the Norwegian cruise lines, Virgin,
Oh.
which is anything but Virgin.
Like the airline?
I don't know if it's related to the airline. That's a great question. Or MSC. So let me tell you a little bit about each one.
Yes, please.
Carnival, Carnival Cruise Line is more of a budget-friendly cruise line. Prices are a little lower. You're going to see it's a real party hardship. You're going to see a lot of drinking. You're going to see a lot of games and activities. You might see something like, let's see, fat guy splash into, yes, I said it, fat guy splash into the pool, that kind of thing, or
Yeah.
hairy chest competitions, things like that. You know what I mean? You're going to see all kinds of stuff. You're going to and you'll see a lot of drinking, and sometimes drinking can tend to lead towards a lot louder
Mm,
and more vivacious type cruises.
yeah.
They're known for being a party ship, and that's okay. You will find a lot of couples with children and families on that ship. You will find multi-generations on that ship as well,
So
on their ship.
you got to be open to a louder
Mhm.
atmosphere, it sounds like.
Right. So it is a
You may
kid
not just be
friendly.
able to sit there and read.
That's right. Yeah, well, there's usually quiet sections on the boat,
Oh,
but
okay.
they're going to be a little harder to find on the Carnival ships. They're kid friendly. You're going to find things like water slides and rope
Oh.
courses, mountain, what do you call 'em, climbing up the wall.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You're going to
Rock
find
climbing.
many of them have miniature golf, and
Oh,
you're going to find a lot
cool.
of tons of activities.
Okay.
Okay. So they're
They're
action
high
active,
energy ship.
high energy cruises. So and nothing wrong with that. That's great. A lot of people want. I'm on my vacation. I worked hard, so I'm going to play hard. That's that kind of
Yeah.
ship.
Okay.
Then there's celebrity cruises.
Okay.
I would say that's more popular in a young professional crowd.
Like
You know, young professionals.
young to mid
You're going to find,
20s,
yeah, 20s. I don't know if I would say 20s. I would say 20s to
30s,
40s, maybe
20s to
20s to
40s.
50s.
Okay. Okay.
Not even 20s, 30s to 50s, maybe.
Okay. Okay.
And a young professional crowd. You're going to find a lot of couples who want luxury, but they want it at a good price.
Okay.
It's going to cost you more money probably than what you spend on a Carnival cruise, but you're going to have great food. You're going to have a lot of peace and quiet, and people that worked hard and really just want to relax, have a couple of cocktails, go to the casino, dress nice for dinner, young
Yeah.
professionals. Holland America, that's generally an older crowd. Ta-da! That's me.
That's your jam. Yeah.
That's my jam. There was a time when I first started cruising on Holland America, I might have considered myself one of the younger
You
people.
were as a baby.
Now I'm more of like the middle. and, and and they have excellent food, great food on their cruise
Mm.
line. Not only on their main dining rooms, which everybody has a main dining room, which is normally included in the price of your cruise. They all have a buffet. Holland America has one of the best buffets
Mm.
out there. And one of the things we found, or that I found, was it's always nice to go to the main dining room, see what's on the menu for that evening. And if none of those things, really say to you, this is what I want to have tonight, go to the buffet. They
Hmm.
have a little bit of everything, and they they tend to have food many times that is indicative of the area that you're visiting.
Okay.
So if they're in the
Like
Caribbean, you might see
Caribbean
jerk
food.
jerk
Yeah.
chicken, that kind of thing. If you're going towards Hawaii, which I haven't done, or I went to Alaska on their cruise line, and they baked they had a
Baked
grill
Alaska?
set up on
Oh.
the deck, and they were baking salmon right on the deck, grilling salmon on the deck. It was
Wow.
absolutely wonderful, and that's geared for where you are.
That's cool.
They have highly popular destinations. They have excellent cocktails and wine.
And it's
They're really proud of their wine, and they do a lot in their to impress the people with their wine cellars, and it's really geared for people that appreciate those some of those finer things
is
in
this
life.
the quietest one, the most relaxing
I
one?
would say it's quiet. I mean, I didn't put down here Cunard, and Cunard is I don't know if it's say Cunard or Cunard. Maybe Cunard is the right way to say it. But that's the one with like Mary and Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth, Queen Mary ships.
Oh, okay.
Think of those are true ocean liners. You'll
Yeah.
find that on a Cunard, and that's also owned by or that's owned by Carnival as well. They own a lot of cruise lines. And so you'll find that's probably the most peaceful ship,
Okay.
and Holland America is as well. Royal Caribbean, you're going to find a lot of
Oh,
young to middle-aged
that's the one
families.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, young to middle-aged families, and many of their ships now are what I would call mega ships. They're huge. They can 4 to 6 thousand passengers,
Hmm.
and outstanding destinations. Some destinations you can't really take because the ship is too big. It's probably not, their mega ships are not great maybe to go to Alaska. In my opinion, I like a smaller ship, get closer to the glaciers. But anything else like Trans-Pacific or Transatlantic, they would be outstanding ships out on the open water.
Okay.
Princess cruises, like we said, that the Love Boat, they
Yes.
actually have only about 5 to 10% of their guests are children.
Okay.
So for whatever reason, it's really more of a couples and a young family, but more couples on that ship or their ships.
Okay.
And they're known for great food and unbelievable, incredible destinations. Norwegian Cruise Line, I would say it's more of an upper mobile budget conscious uh, passenger.
Okay.
Uh, it- and they have a new ship called the Aqua. I would encourage everybody to look that up on the internet, the Aqua, AQUA, just like it's, like water. Yeah. And just an incredible looking ship. I have not been on it, but it's really the kind of a ship that will compete with some of the mega ships, definitely a mega ship. It will compete with some of the best of Royal Caribbean's mega ship.
Okay.
Um, Virgin, Virgin does not allow children.
Oh, you got to be 18.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
adult only, and
I like
they
that.
are they are a party ship.
Oh, I don't want that.
If if you're young and single,
This is more
and
party than carnival.
yeah, it's probably not the cruise line for a single young lady. Maybe, I mean, if you want to go, you go, of
You
course.
go with
But
your friends.
I would say, yeah, it might be a girl's vacation,
A
and you all
bachelorette
go.
party.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly, you got it. And then MSC, which is a cruise line out of Europe. They're a big one in Europe, and they're really making strides now. They're very large strides in U.S. waters. Generally, they're less expensive than any of them, even less expensive than Carnival,
Mm.
but they do a lot of a la carte stuff. So you could get a really low cruise fare,
Hmm.
but you could do all the add-ons. So you got to watch out for that. So if you don't mind children, which I don't, and you like to hear their happy voices, you can go on most of these cruise lines. If you don't want to go where there's children, you want an adult vacation, there's a couple of cruise lines for you there. So,
So, how do you, Dad, pick your itinerary?
well, how do I pick my itinerary?
Yeah.
That's a great question. First, I decide when is it that I want to travel? Is it something I want to do in the warm summer? I want to go to a warm weather destination. Is it a cruise I want to take at holiday time? And which holiday are you talking about? Halloween or New Year's Eve?
Sure.
And what about the weather when you're going? If you want to go to the Caribbean, you probably don't want to go in the early fall when it's hurricane season,
Probably not.
but uh, if you want
That's
to go
sure
to
when I went.
yeah, the Mediterranean is outstanding in the late spring and summer. Caribbean is really good in the late fall and early spring. Certainly, Alaska has a season. Generally, it's late April through October.
Okay.
First thing I do is decide when I want to go, and that kind of narrows it down for me. It's like, okay, this is when I want to travel. What kind of cruising is really offered at that time?
Okay.
Do I want to go to the Mexican Riviera, or do I want to go
Panama
to the
Canal,
Caribbean? Do I want to go to the Panama Canal?
Hawaii.
Exactly right. And it's going to depend on what season and for what kind of cruises they're offering. Another thing that I look at is um, what they call shoulder season.
Oh,
So for shoulder season, let's say you look at Alaska, very popular destination. So April and October are probably what they would consider to be the shoulder season. That's like April, you might get some snow on your cruise.
mm,
October, same thing.
okay.
Everybody wants to go in July and the kids are out of school, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right.
So prices could be higher. If you want to go a little lower, you're looking at the shoulder season. Um,
Okay, okay.
and another thing is how long do you want to travel? How long
Yeah.
are you want to go on a cruise?
You want to go
So
three
if you're
days? You
only,
want to go 12 days?
if you're only looking for a 3 or 4 or 5 day cruise, you've only got a few of these cruise lines to pick from.
Yeah.
Carnival does, they cover the gamut with the types of cruise, so they do plenty of short cruises. MSC, tons of short cruises. Holland America, they really don't do that. They're more of a longer term, 7 or longer. Royal Caribbean, you're going to find some short cruises, but tons of long cruises as well. And by long, I'm saying 7 days. So that's really not long. But You
No.
know, when you're not going to find, you're going to find, you can find cruises on Norwegian and Royal and Holland and Celebrity. They may go 20, 30, 40 days. So it really
Yeah.
depends on how many days you want to be gone. How long do you want to go and when do you want to go? So I got, okay, so what can you do to try and decide? First, you narrow down the time period. Okay.
Okay.
Narrow down the time period. If you decide, you know what, I'd like to go in the spring, or maybe I want to go like in February and get out of the winter, get away from the winter.
Okay.
A fantastic time for a Caribbean cruise.
Yes.
Get on the internet. Everybody has the internet, and just look up Caribbean cruises in February. And you're going to find tons of videos from people that will show you, they'll show you their cruise and what their cruise ship was like, what their cruise ports were like, and how much fun they had if they went on excursions. You're going to see tons of those. And you're going to see some where people go, "Oh, this was terrible. I didn't like it."
Yeah.
And you know, some people complain about everything. You know what I mean? Some people, they don't complain about anything. So take it with a grain of salt, but know that if, I always like to use that old adage, if there's smoke, there's fire.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're hearing about some problems, like one of these cruise lines, MSC, you hear a lot about poor service.
Okay.
Well, you hear it once, you go, well, maybe, who knows, maybe you couldn't satisfy this person. If you hear it twice, you go, well, I wonder if there's something there. If you hear it 10 times, you got to start saying to yourself, am I sure that I want
Yeah.
to go on this cruise line? You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So watch some videos, watch what other people have done and tell you about review their cruise line and their specific cruises. You could look up specific cruise ships. And don't be afraid to look it up and have fun on the internet. Do some research. Talk to people, your coworkers or your family, see who's gone on cruises and what cruise line they like, and have some fun. Just make a decision.
Whoa, 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 Dad. You got way too much you're talking about for just one video. We gotta do a timeout. We'll come back next week. See you then.